Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. We've got a couple people more popping in, and we're going to give just another 30 seconds for people to log on, and then we'll get started here. But nice to see you all.
Hello. Oh my gosh, it's a Tish. How are
Yeah,
you,
Toby,
friend?
hello, how are you?
Good to see you.
Likewise, I was wondering if you would recognize some old people.
Oh, you're not old, my friend. And Jody's here. It's like some of my best people here. Look at this. Hi, Jody. No, she left. She was here.
Quit
Anyway,
scaring everyone away, Toby.
I'll stop talking.
All right. It's 3 after, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We might have some people trickle in as we get going here, but nice to see you all. I'm Emily McMahon. I'm going to be facilitating today's session. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get started here. I've got a couple housekeeping type slides to start, and then we're going to jump in. But for those of you who don't know us, like I said, I'm Emily McMahon. I'm with Eduvantis. I lead Eduvantis's in-house agency services team. We are a higher education only strategy consulting and marketing firm. So we have a marketing agency and a strategy consulting firm in-house. Have been working in higher ed for 12 years. Not going to give any more of an elevator pitch than that, but just super grateful that you're all here today. Here comes one more person. About this series. So you guys are our first group in the Lessons Learned series. This is a virtual discussion series. And one of the things that we've been thinking about a bit lately is lots and lots of our folks, our clients, are asking the same questions, having some of the same challenges, but maybe limited a bit by the network that they have or access to information. So the goal here is that this is not a lecture, it's a discussion, and that we can help provide you with access to market insights and then also peers outside of your immediate network to talk about those challenges and strategy and solutions to those things. So like I said, this is the first in that series. We're hoping that this will continue to be sort of a monthly type thing. So keep an eye out for upcoming sessions on that. Today's agenda, we have folks with us here today from Santa Clara University, and they're going to talk about their experience of standing up an online graduate unit in year one, lessons learned, sort of that strategic mandate by the university, the things that they did in order to drive towards their goals, and then ultimately the results of that, aiming for that to be sort of a 15-minute overview, and then opening it up for discussion and Q&A. We're also going to share some market insights. Steve Schreiberg here is a member of the Eduvantis team. He leads our consulting service practice. So he'll talk through some just tips around program selection, program design, market expectation, hot takes, those types of things. Just a couple housekeeping things as we get started here. Jayla from my team is going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, go ahead, throw your hand up or throw that question in the chat, and we can kind of help guide the conversation that way. I know this is a big group. This session is being recorded, and that recording, as well as the deck, is going to be sent out to all participants after the fact. And if you have follow-up questions, contact information for everyone here on the panel is included in that last slide of the deck. So please feel free to reach out for follow-up questions. This really is meant to be a resource and a way to expand your network with people that might be great for collaborating on strategy choices. So today's panel, I already introduced myself. I'm going to hand it over to Steve Schreiberg from our consulting practice to say a quick hello.
Hi, I'm Steve Schreiberg. As Emily said, I am her counterpart. She is head of marketing services at Eduvantis. I lead the consulting practice at Eduvantis. So nice to see some faces I already know and some people I don't know. I'll hand it to Toby.
Thank you, Steve and Emily. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm actually calling in from Portland, Oregon, where it's a beautiful rainy day, which In California, we're not used to rain, so actually I'm kind of enjoying this cold, rainy weather here. But my name is Toby McChesney. I'm the Vice Provost for our graduate programs. We have 50 graduate programs, of which 9 are online, and we'll talk a lot more about that. Thank you.
And hello, everybody. I am Olivia DeGrassa. I'm the Director of Marketing for Santa Clara University's online graduate program. So work on Toby's team, SCU Online. Excited to be with you guys here today.
All right. And with that, we're going to jump into just some situational context around why Toby and Olivia and team started on this journey in the first place.
So I think I'll, this is me here. What's interesting here, so this is a slide on the left. This is just a visual of the undergraduate enrollment cliff. That this is not a webinar on the undergraduate enrollment cliff. I'm sure there's 100 of those out there, and the one on the right here is this came out a couple months ago about just people's confidence in higher education continuing to fall. I'm put this in here because I think it's important for those who are focused on graduate programs to understand how this affects graduate programs. And the two things I want to most highlight here. First, there's a reason why we want to stand up these online graduate units. And you all, a lot of the people on this call, I'm sure, are getting pressure to grow enrollments and grow revenue in the graduate space because you're either already feeling the effects or seeing what's to come on the undergraduate level, right? So institutions are like, all right, where am I turning next for my revenue? All right, I'm looking over here at graduate programs. You all have to pick up some of the pace because we know that the undergraduate is going to struggle. However, I think what people don't really fully comprehend about this as well, though, is what do you need to have in order to enroll in a graduate program? You need to have an undergraduate degree, right? If there are less of those people out there floating around in the space, that means that what you're being tasked with is getting more enrollments from less people in the market, right? There's less of these people that are going to be flowing out there. And so I think having those conversations internally now, even starting to set the landscape here of, okay, let's just fully comprehend what you're asking us to do is really important. And the undergraduate piece of this is an element of it that can and should be part of those conversations. So end of story on that. It sort of helps to set the context for this. But I'll turn it over to my SCU friends to go from there.
Sure. Thanks, Stephen. And I know we've all heard, oh, well, it's easy to go grad, right? Undergrad is potentially shrinking. And so I've definitely heard that. So I came from the business school, our Levy School of Business 2.5 years ago to the provost office. And that was kind of the thinking of, well, we have 3,000 graduate students, and yes, we'll centralize some aspects of it, and sure, we can quickly launch and create new revenue streams from the graduate areas, which we've done a little bit, which we are very fortunate with, but as you all know, it's not as easy as it sounds. So my first mandate from the president's office was, we are a Jesuit university in Silicon Valley, and not all of our students can either afford or get to the Bay Area for a variety of reasons. So we launched SU Online, an internal in-house online provider that we've now termed SU Online. Please follow us on LinkedIn. But we wanted to bring access of our graduate programs to a wider area of students. And we first started, you'll see in the next slide, some of our internal programs, smaller programs. So we started first with our partners here at Eduvantis. So we've been working with Eduvantis actually for over 7 years now. When I first came to Santa Clara in the School of Business, we hired them for market analysis and love what I saw. And then Steve and I kept talking, and then he introduced me to Emily, and we've had a great partnership with our marketing arm now with Eduvantis for 3 of our various programs. So we first launched in-house with Olivia, who will talk in a little bit too, our director of marketing, our online MATSE. There's a lot of words here. I know you all used to kind of acronym. We have a lot of acronyms here at Santa Clara. So the MATSE program is an online Master of Teaching credential program in our School of Education, Counseling, Psychology. And we also hired Eduvantis to do marketing for us for our Flex JD, which is a 30% hybrid JD program, which is the most is allowed for the ABA ruling. And we launched a very small certificate in restorative justice through our graduate program, Pastoral Ministries. The big wow really was summer 23, as you can see in that chart timeline, is our online Catholic track in the MA in teaching program. That was 12 students enrolled, and then we enrolled 35 online MA teaching students in the fall. Our goal was 15 students total between both cohorts. So we completely exceeded those numbers, and I'll give you more numbers a little bit later on too. And then our Flex JD program enrolled 34 students. The part-time JD program the year before had 18, so almost double that. So we were very excited about that by far. And as we kind of look forward to what's next, thinking again about the enrollment cliff that Steve's talking about, kind of our mandate to try to grow graduate programs, we do work with an OPM for our School of Business, and 4 of our online programs in the business school are with our OPM. It's a rev share model, and we are in conversations with them right now, given the success thus far of SU Online, of what it would mean to bring in one of those programs this upcoming fall. So we still haven't signed the contract or anything, so I'm not going to give you many more details, but talk to me about 6 months and I'll be able to give you a lot more information. But we are looking to bring that in. And of course, as you all know, and I'm here at the UPSEA conference in Portland, as I mentioned, the biggest buzz right now is SEO and OPMs. Everybody's talking about that. So if you have an OPM, we can have a whole separate conversation about that, the pluses and minuses of that. But with Eduvantis, we really are using them for our marketing arm for several programs. And it's really been working very efficiently, and we'll have more slides about that. So we need staff, and this is something that I would say was a surprise. So I came in as a vice provost with this mandate of growing SU Online and asked for this crazy budget and staff lines that you can see in front of you. And I think I caught the president and provost in a good day because they fully got it and bought into it. So I guess my rule of thumb is find, if you're going to make a big ask for budget, make sure you have a good day for them. That really helped us here. So I was able to hire first our associate vice provost for graduate programs, Min, who's on the call as well. And she handles and leads all the SU Online operations with Olivia, who's going to speak in a little bit, and then her team. And then we have obviously our recruiting arm that we're still building out. We right now only have one director of online recruiting, and then we have a director of student services as well. So these folks really help with our internal online programs. They do not work with the online business programs right now because that's still with the OPM. And then the separate arm is instructional design and peace. So that's reported through the CIO, so a different arm. But SU Online is paying for those FTEs. And obviously we have instructional designers, videographer, et cetera, to help our students and faculty with the classroom recordings, et cetera. So this is a lot. And we also got a marketing budget as well to ensure that we work with Eduvantis to get leads, et cetera.
Yeah, thank you, Toby. Diving into that marketing side and that marketing budget. So as Toby mentioned, we first launched our online MA and teaching program this fall in partnership with Eduvantis. So right away, we got to work on establishing a targeting strategy for our paid media. So we knew that since we had a pretty short runway to launch the first year of this online program, we needed to be targeting a very high intent student. So AKA those students who are already searching for and ready to start their program right now. So we then allocated the majority of our marketing budget to channels that we knew these high intent students would already be on, like search and display, as you can see in that bar up top. So we did this because we knew that students searching for specific program keywords on Google, like for this program, for example, teaching credentials, teaching programs, we knew that they are sure to be interested in this program offering. So putting the majority of our budget into these high intent channels in particularly our primary and secondary markets, as you can see there, geographic markets, ensures that we are targeting the potential students who are most likely to convert to actual students now. So, however, because this is also a new program, we still wanted to make sure that we were making room for awareness tactics on channels like Meta and LinkedIn as well. So we allocated a very small portion of our budget to these channels to catch those who are not already searching for programs of this kind on Google, for example. So to further ensure our conversions, we gathered a retargeting audience from all of these channels and tactics. Retargeting audiences tend to have a very high conversion rate in comparison to general audiences. So we knew that this would be a high quality audience to invest in. And through the retargeting audience, we used actions, call to action phrases like apply now to encourage the high intent audience to enroll and convert. And we really wanted to make sure that, like we said, through these high intent channels, we were capturing those students who were looking for programs now. So in marketing and using remarketing and retargeting tactics, we're able to really lead them to where they need to be to apply and hit our most important goal, which is enrollment. So now I can pass it over to Toby again to show how these tactics and audiences perform for our online MA and teaching program.
Thank you, Olivia. So this, of course, at a provost level, numbers speak volumes, all the data, right? So this is really amazing. And this is something also that's a plus of working with your in-house group. OPMs don't tend to give you a lot of the numbers behind the scenes. So we can obviously see everything through the Eduvantis forms, the ads that they're clicking, the forms they're filling out in Slate. We are a Slate school. And then we can track everything. So from at my level, I can make a very easy pitch that our Eduvantis marketing dollars is certainly helping. And correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, I believe that over 60% of our online MATC students came from Eduvantis directly. So very, very exciting there. So this is just for one program, the online MA and teaching program. So through Eduvantis leads, et cetera, we got 700 leads. And then Matt, our director of recruiting for online graduate programs, did calls. I would say the calls, were hit or miss, right? Sometimes you get the voicemail, sometimes you get wrong numbers, of course, but he did have some success with students. Text messages for us, we did that through Slate. We have found that to be very successful, very easy to do, and students would really jump at that. Reminder that the deadline's tomorrow, reminder that there's a webinar, please sign up. So we've had a lot of great success with that. And then we built out a lot of email campaigns. So you can see over 10,000 emails. Each student gets about 15 emails in an 18-month period about the online MATC program, how to apply, scholarships, webinars, we do faculty emails, et cetera. Obviously info sessions, and then Matt does one-on-one Zoom advising sessions and phone calls. So to get our students, we had 70 students apply, and then you can see the funnel there. And then we had can't do math right now, 47 students enroll in both of those programs. And then the next chart I really love, the map. So there we are again, Santa Clara in the Bay Area. We're in San Jose, 45 minutes south of San Francisco, which, by the way, San Francisco is alive. It's still a beautiful city. You just have to go quickly PR for that. So what I think a lot of people are afraid of is if I move my program online, that's going to cannibalize the in-person on-campus program. I have not seen that in our business school. Our evening MBA has still maintained. Our online MBA has skyrocketed. So we've not seen that in the business school. We have not seen that with the online or the teaching program either. So fall 22, we brought in 19 in-person MATC students. And then fall 23, this past fall, we brought in 61. So you can tell with 35 online MATC students, there still were 30 or 26 in-person MATC students, so still an increase there. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, one of our mandates for SU Online is really providing access throughout the country and the world, so to speak. For teaching credential in California, we are limited to California for obvious reasons, because they want to be teachers here, so to be credentialed there. So we are focusing on California for this program. But what I love is we are seeing a bigger swath inland in California and SoCal as well. So we're finding students that traditionally can't get access to a teaching program in more rural areas, and that's really paid dividends here. So this is a great map that just shows you the strength of working with Eduvantis, working with my great team, but again, also showing that both the online program excelled and at the same time, the in-person program did as well.
Yeah, I want to echo something that Toby said there about that cannibalization of the face-to-face programs. I think that's really important to be thinking about and talking about, while also understanding that like there's a group of people that used to go into face-to-face programs that now wants online programs. So if
Right.
you are not offering an online or hybrid version, which is what they're going to enroll in, then you're just going to lose them to somebody else. So part of it is kind of keeping your market share by offering different options. And part of it is adding more people into your mix, right, that wouldn't have otherwise have enrolled in you. So just a couple points here at the end here, some kind of tips or just things to make sure you consider as you are moving in this direction. Number one is, be selective here. This is not, you can't just throw a dart at all of your programs and say, boop, that's the one we're going to move online, because each of these different programs has very different market dynamics that are occurring here. This chart you're seeing here is just at a high level graduate conferrals nationally by year over time. Some of these are health professions, public administrations. Those are growing markets, right? Just at a high level. Good kinds of markets to be doing some kind of expansion of your products into. Some of them are contracting markets, social sciences, things like that, where if you're a business, if you're thinking like a business person, am I really going to try and kind of go after shrinking markets? Probably not as attractive on the surface. You'd have to dig a little bit deeper, which I'll do in a moment here. So next, so that's at the conferral level. We also like to talk a lot about the employers are the market makers here. What is it that they are looking for? Because that will drive student demand. And this data that we have here is data from Lightcast about job postings that require master's degrees. This was literally looking at engineering, different types of engineering, but you can do this for any of these disciplines and say, okay, we might really want to launch a bioengineering master's degree. And there might be a lot of people who are interested in bioengineering, generally speaking, but like the market's not really looking for people to have a master's degree in there. There aren't that many job openings that say, I need a master's degree. Much more on the software engineering, applied mathematics side, or job postings actually saying master's degree required, right? And if you can match yourself up with what the requirements of the employers are, much better chance that you're going to get people enrolling in your program.
Yeah, Steve, if I just may,
Yeah,
I think it really is important also to really highlight this for you all. And again, as I said at the beginning, I think a lot of presidents and provosts just assume, oh yes, we can launch these programs and grow. I would really caution you all to really be sure you work with a firm to get some market analysis, because the worst thing you do is you invest in a program to be online and you get 2 students, right? So I would spend the time to really find out, to Steve's point, what the market is saying and what other jobs available. When we launched our online master in teaching program, our dean of the School of Education, Counseling, Psychology, the data that we got from Eduvantis really helped her to shape the proposal for our faculty senate to get approval. With Eduvantis, we had all the data to show that this program will thrive if we launch it, and that really helped her to get the program approved fairly quickly. So I know every university works differently in faculty governance, but I really want to make it, a strong point that do your research, get the data, because that's really going to help you get the program approved.
Yeah, thanks, Toby. And this, I think, is a good carry on from that, because launching online programs is a series of small choices that you have to make when you're doing this. It's not like, face-to-face programs, like find a classroom, find a teacher, find a time, and you're good to go from there. Online programs, it's like, is it going to be synchronous? Is it going to be asynchronous? Or are we going to have weekly deadlines? We're going to have a few deadlines. Are we going to make people get together in groups or not? Are we going to have them come to campus every once in a while or not? There's like all these little choices that you have to make that are important, because the market has preferences for these things. It can't just be what you want to do and what your professors want to do. You have to match up to what the market wants, because they'll go out and they'll find, especially in the online world, you're competing with lots of brands out there, right? And so if it's really important for them to have a synchronous program or an asynchronous program, or these different things, like they really want a cohort, even though they're online, you gotta meet that demand, and doing some market research, as Toby's suggesting, will really give you the confidence that you're making these choices correctly, as opposed to just projecting what the institution wants to happen or what they want the students to experience. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just jump in because you guys all know, or the folks who work with me know, I can't keep my mouth shut on these things. This varies by program, and that's super important because, you launch one program and you make some choices here. You can't just replicate that program to program to program. And when you have these things wrong, the cost of your marketing expenses goes up exponentially. It gets harder and harder to sell that program. So this is a really important piece of the puzzle, and it is program and market specific.
Great point. Thanks, Emily. And then finally, just, one point on this, the market has moved so much towards flexibility. This is for graduate business students. Are you able to freely migrate between online courses and in-person courses? Almost 2/3 of them now are saying, yeah, these are deans who answered this, say yes. There's just so much out there already that if you're not staying ahead of these things, at a certain point earlier, this was a differentiator. If you were able to freely migrate between online and in-person courses, and it was an additive to certain schools. Now it's almost it's a negative if you don't have it. And these things start to move in that direction. You can get yourself kind of caught if you stay behind on certain elements, that you're just kind of not even in the conversation anymore, because it's a market expectation that you do have certain elements. This is just one example of that, but there are other examples of things like that at one point were differentiators, and then they just become market standards. So staying ahead on those sorts of things is really important as well.